We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
To Vikings fans, I just want to let you know you'll get everything I absolutely have on an every single day basis. Knowing how hard it is to win in this league and having come from an organization where we were just able to accomplish the ultimate goal in winning a Super Bowl, I know what it takes. I've seen it. I've experienced it. And I know how hard it can be, but I know if you've got the right kind of people with you, the right ownership, the right leadership structure with you, and I know we have the right kind of players in this building already, we can accomplish a lot of really special things. I want to acknowledge the strong history of this organization real quick. We've got some legends in attendance today. Legendary Coach Bud Grant, Randall McDaniel, John Randall, two Hall of Famers that I have so much respect for. Scott Studwell, I just spent some time in my office with, and hopefully we get him back around the facility a little bit more now that we're moving on from some of the difficult times we've experienced the past couple years. I asked him if he would maybe be part of our first tackling circuit because he looks like he can still tackle most of the guys on our roster. And then obviously Pete Bersich, who's not in here right now, but I know he's a major part of our alumni and a big part of what we want to have. We want as much of the former Vikings greats, the alumni, to be a part of what we do here. We want them back around our players. When you have such a great culture and history to an organization, that makes it all the better if you can connect both the current and former parts of what makes this organization so special.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 48 of Vikings Uncensored. It is officially
the 4 with the 8 after it.
Yes. Which eight is twice as many as 4. So, but
hey,
get your math lesson ready anyway.
Right.
It is official, ladies and gentlemen. As of Wednesday morning, the Kevin O'Connell era has begun.
There we go.
The Vikings put out a press release Wednesday morning, officially naming him the 10th head coach in team history.
Thank God. Thank God.
I wasn't worried. I know you were.
I was all me.
You were sweating cold cuts over there, but
I was nervous.
I knew it was just a matter of time.
I don't know with the way this year has been going and how this last season played out. I was like, no, man, this cannot be happening.
Yeah, he didn't. Josh McDaniels this. So
thank God. Thank God.
We'll talk about the coaching here a little bit more in a few minutes, but got some news we want to get to here first. Then we'll roll in. We'll talk about the latest in the position coaches and all that other and what that's looking like, and then we've got viewer questions that were presented to us by viewers, followers, and whatnot that we'll hit here later on in the show. So we'll kind of make that our focal point this week. But starting off, I guess, with the news, of course, the congratulations to the LA Rams for winning the Super Bowl last weekend.
Yep.
And allowing our new head coach to come in here with his own shiny Super Bowl ring. So hopefully he can walk around the locker room and say, see, look at this. You guys can have this too. And
I know how to do this. I know how to get it done. I know what it takes to get there.
Yep. So congratulations to the Rams. Then kind of related to that, on a flight from Los Angeles, headed back to Houston Sunday after the game, former Viking, former Washington whatever, former New Orleans Saint, former Detroit Lion, and I believe he played for the Tennessee Titans for a game last year and Seattle Sea Chickens for a couple games. Adrian Peterson was arrested for a domestic disturbance on an airplane.
What the hell is wrong with you?
The plane was actually taxiing out onto the runway, and they had to turn around and bring him back.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say about this guy anymore.
I mean,
I used to love him. As I'm sure 98 to 99% of the Vikings fan base did at one time as well. But what a fake guy.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he's beating his kids that nobody knew about until he got caught. Now he's fighting with his wife on some fucking plane.
We've said pretty much what we need to say on Adrian.
Right.
I mean, he's not a Viking anymore. No matter how badly, I still see fans saying, "Oh, we should bring him back." No, we're not going to freaking bring him back.
No.
He can
maybe for a 1-day contract.
Yeah, if he wants to do, but
won't be for a few years down the road now.
No, I mean, he's going to keep trying to play until he's like 60 because, he's done so well with his money over the years.
Yeah, right.
75 illegitimate kids and riding camels at his birthday parties and all that other crap, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Then the next kind of rumor that popped on Wednesday morning, per Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson has the Vikings on his radar as one team that he would waive his no trade clause to go play for.
Yeah, I just don't know about that.
No, I mean, not with 22 cases of sexual assault or whatever
well, he hasn't been criminally charged yet.
No, and these are all civil cases. They're not. It isn't a criminal case, but still, until that's
not a good look, that's for sure.
No, until that's cleared up,
I wouldn't touch it.
I wouldn't touch it either. Now,
as appealing as it sounds, as far as talent-wise goes, it's very appealing.
Yeah, there's no doubt he's a hell of a talent.
Right.
But
until he can figure out some good character, do some good character work and figure out who Deshaun is, I don't want to touch him.
Yep. Well, and if the legal thing wasn't an issue, and that is the issue, his cap hits actually aren't that bad.
Well, he's still on a rookie contract.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No.
Okay.
He's the same. He was the same class as Mahomes. He's but
okay, so he's on a second contract then.
I mean, his cap hits right now for Houston are like 40, 42, but he's got signing bonus money for the next 3 years.
Okay.
Which if I read the stuff right, Houston would be on the hook to pay for that, regardless if he's on the team or not.
Okay.
Which puts his cap hits for the next 4 years, because that's all the further his contract goes out. But it would be a $35 million cap hit this year, 37 next year, then 32 million in 2023 and 2024, which that's doable.
By that time, maybe you'd know whether or not you want to extend or not, or as
right.
far as that
and
goes.
The cap is supposed to go up again next year. Now this year, basically, we'd end up paying the same for Deshaun Watson that we would for Kirk Cousins, because we're still on the hook for the 10 million from Kirk, whether he's on the team or not.
Right.
I'm not going to get into the argument of what would we rather have, Deshaun Watson or Kirk Cousins, because
come on, man.
That's a rabbit hole. We have too much stuff to talk about this week. I don't want to get down that rabbit hole. That's a different discussion for a different time.
Right. And who knows who we'd fucking upset too.
Well, we know who we'd upset, but just wanted to bring that up since it was kind of the hot rumor on Wednesday, and I don't expect anything to come out of it, but it's there, so we report it. Then the key dates also coming out for the NFL now. I just saw this yesterday as well. This was released on Monday. The waiver period has begun as of the 14th. So, which is kind of a sick, cruel joke. You can start waiving players on Valentine's Day, but don't be mine. Be somebody else's. We don't want you. But the waiver period opened on the 14th. The franchise tag period begins on the 22nd, which will be Tuesday. After that, the deadline for putting on the tags would be on 3/8. So you have like a 2 week span in there. March 1st is the scouting combine, which that runs from
interesting. That's all
Yep.
Always pretty captivating for
runs
guys like me and you that
through the weekend.
watch all year round.
Yeah, except now that I have a 8 to 5 to work, I can't sit and watch it all day long like I did the last few years.
Well, they got DVR nowadays, so
yeah.
I don't
have it. I don't have a DVR, but I'll just have to watch the online stuff. So then on the 14th of March, that's when the legal tampering period opens up. And then the new league year begins officially on the 16th of March. So basically month away from today as we're recording on Wednesday. Yep. And of course, by that day, the teams must be down to the salary cap, which is the top 51 to get you underneath that salary cap, which is, I believe, 208 or 208 and a half, right in there.
You know me in numbers. I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but that's where we're sitting for the cap as it sits right now on Wednesday, according to both Over the Cap and Spotrac. The Vikings are 15.3 million and some change over the salary cap. This brings me to the next point that I wanted to bring up. Wednesday morning, I was listening to Luke Braun over on the Locked On Vikings podcast. Does a good job. He's part of the Locked On NFL network. He's an LA guy, but he's a Vikings fan. Does a daily show. Mm-hmm. He's got some good information and stuff on there. And he's got some good connections. But we've been talking about how there's a lot of contracts on the Vikings that are going to have something done with them, and one of them, probably the most significant one, not named Kirk Cousins, is Danielle Hunter.
Right.
Now, I was thinking that this could potentially be an issue, but the way that Luke described it this morning, it makes this is easy. This is one contract.
It's easy fixins.
This is one contract the Vikings did where they did something right when they set it up. And Hunter's camp has agreed to all this, so they don't even have to negotiate with him. If the team decides by the start of the league year that they want to keep Hunter, he's due $18 million roster bonus as it sits right now. If they don't want to keep him, they can cut him before that, and they don't pay that. They're just due a little bit of dead money.
That's not happening anyways.
No, they're not just going to cut him free. But what they can do, and this is complete team option, Hunter has no say whether they do this or not, is they can take that 18 million and spread it out over the next 4 years, which is going to lower Hunter's cap hit this year to just under 13 million,
which helps us out tremendously.
Because like we just said, we're 15.3 over the cap, so dropping roughly 13 million off that cap gets us to just in that 2.5 to 3 million over, which makes it a lot more manageable to work some other deals in order to get us down to a point where we can potentially make a move or two in free agency. We're not going to we're not going to be making
any big splash moves, I don't think.
Not likely, unless we
can't afford to make any big splash moves this offseason, really.
No, not unless
unless something happens.
Yes, which there's going to be other restructures in there, and there will be players that are going to not be here this year that were here last year. I have a feeling
we were pretty much in cap hell last year too, but we were still able to make things happen here as well.
Yeah, but there again, you kick the can down the road so far. Eventually, you kick it up.
I don't think Quessy is going to be doing that.
No, I don't think. This new regime, I don't believe is going to come in here and say, "Hey, we know that
let's do the same shit we did before."
Right. We know that the guys that were here before screwed this up so badly that it got them fired, but we can do it better. So we're going to try the exact goddamn same thing. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not what we would brought Quessy in here for.
No, so. I mean, we know Quessy's he's a numbers guy. He's a Wall Street guy. So that kind of stuff, I don't think is going to be happening on, very often
This
around here
first
anymore.
this first year is going to be a little bit bumpy, I think, for us as fans. But
Yeah.
the ship has got to get steered right back. It's got to be steered back in the right direction.
Right, exactly.
So sacrifices might need to be made, or most likely will have to be made.
Right. And we kind of went through some of that stuff last week. We'll
Previous
touch on
episodes.
We'll touch up on it again as we get closer to the start of the league year. And anytime some of this stuff comes to light, we'll of course talk about it. But with that, we will move on and see where we're sitting with the coaching staff right now. Of course, big news and number one, Kevin O'Connell officially the head coach now. As of
right now, a lot of things are going to start coming in as more official, you know, instead of just tossing names out.
Right. Now, as far as offensive coordinator goes, two names basically that I'm hearing, and
I like both these names too.
And I heard now that they're both current Rams position coaches.
Right.
Wes Phillips, son of Wade Phillips, grandson of Bum Phillips.
Son of Bub. Yeah.
Who is currently the tight ends coach in
okay, you like the Phillips, lineage.
Yep, in Los Angeles. He's been in discussions. And then of course also Thomas Brown, who's the Rams running back coach. I think he's already interviewed, or he was or he's coming with O'Connell tomorrow to interview. I'm not quite sure how that's working, but
who's this Jeremy Johnson guy that I'm hearing wind of?
Jeremy Johnson.
Yeah, it's a former. He's a quarterbacks coach or something.
Oh no, I'll get to him. It's not Jeremy.
Okay.
We'll get to him in a second though.
Oh, gotcha.
But back to the offensive coordinator thing. I heard a thing on Wednesday afternoon. Ian Rappaport reported this out, that the Vikings actually could sign both Wes Phillips and Thomas Brown for various positions, whether it's offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, something we don't know for sure. But we could end up with both of them the way it sounds.
They'd be somewhere on the staff. Yeah.
Yep. Now to the individual you just brought up, it's I believe it's pronounced Gerard Johnson. Or
okay,
it's like Jared with two D's in the middle of it. So I think it's pronounced
there you go.
Gerard, but
that sounds better.
He was the quality control coach for the offense in Indianapolis. Former Texas A&M quarterback.
There you go.
Big time there. He was the big name at Texas A&M before it was Kellen Mond. He's already been, I believe, signed to be here again. Something I think it's right now. Last I heard is it's assistant quarterbacks coach.
Okay.
So he's on the staff. It's in some shape or form. He could be the quality control guy here or something like that too. But then we seem to have also taken a run on Denver Broncos assistants. One of the earlier ones was Curtis Modkins, who was the running backs coach and run game coordinator in Denver, and will be doing the same position here. Then we have the only one that really I believe we're keeping from the previous staff. Keenan McCardell is staying on as wide receivers coach.
Right, and that's who we wanted to keep as well.
Yep, and
I'm pretty sure a lot of the other people from the Vikings Nation keep it.
Yep, so. and I know both Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen went to bat for him.
Yeah,
when the Wilfs had this team meeting with everybody and whatnot, to talk things over. That was one thing that came out of there, was that both of those guys were pounding the table that we want McCardell to stay. So
right.
Then the tight ends coach, this guy most recently with the Carolina Panthers, but has also been a tight ends coach with Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, the Washington Commanders, and that team from Wisconsin. Brian Angelicio, I believe it's how it's pronounced. He will be our tight ends coach, the way it sounds. Then on the offensive line, Chris Cooper, who
former player,
went to Little Brother up north. He was a offensive lineman for the University of North Dakota. and played for Denver. Had a pretty decent career going, and then had a really bad leg injury that he had to retire from. But
Yeah. Spit an image of Matt Burke almost.
he looks a lot like him, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've heard lots of good things about him as a coach as well. So he will be our offensive line coach. And then just shortly before we hopped on here to record Wednesday, also saw that Justin Roscotti, I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but that's how it's spelled.
Killing names out here today.
Yeah. I mean, well, we're hiring people with weird names. I mean, we do our best. But
Waswa Srawangwa.
yeah, but Justin Roscotti, who was the assistant running back coach in Denver, is going to come along, and he will be the assistant running back coach here as well. So then, of course, on the defensive side of things, another Denver position guy. He was Vic Fangio's right-hand man in Denver on the defensive side of things. Ed Donatel, who interestingly enough had accepted a position coach job in Seattle when we gave him a call and said, no, we want you to come here and be the defensive coordinator. So he told Seattle thanks, but no thanks, and came to Minnesota. And then we also have a senior defensive advisor in Mike Pettin, not Patine, Pettin.
Pettin. Yep.
Which I'm not too upset with him having him on here in that role here again. He's been a head coach in the league before, so
Yeah.
it does give O'Connell somebody to bounce things off and things like that. So, and he's also a 3-4 guy. So that, the tea leaves are all showing that we're probably going to be running some sort of a 3-4 variant next year as the base defense.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
and a base defense nowadays is more of a nickel anyways. So
yeah, you run your base like 30% of the time. So
right.
But then the defensive line coach, Chris Rumpf, who was the defensive line coach for the Bears last year. Linebackers coach, we don't have anybody as of yet.
Oh, Adam Zimmer isn't sticking around, little Zim?
Yeah, I thought little Zim might have a shot at this, but I guess not.
Oh, well, throw that out the window, I guess.
Yep. And then we had a backup, somebody back out, former player and coach in a few places. Deshae Townsend was supposed to come here as our defensive backs coach, and at the last minute decided, I'd rather go to Jacksonville. Why? I don't know.
I wonder how much is it to play into Rick being in Jacksonville. Is it Rick's way of being like, fuck you?
But Deshae Townsend has no ties to Rick Spielman at all. He's never.
I know.
But realistically, if somebody decides they would rather go to Jacksonville over here, I question their judgment, and I don't want them on as a coach anyway. So
right,
probably addition by subtraction here. And then of course we don't have a special teams coordinator as of yet. I would expect the remaining of these positions to be filled by next week's show.
Very soon.
Probably by the end of the weekend, I would almost think, but
everything will be starting to become official.
Well, it has to, because they have to start making decisions on players
right
now. And
we're the last team in the league to get our guy in. So, we're already 3 steps behind everybody else.
Well, I don't know that that's really the case. As far as the scouting and stuff, we kept the scouting staff intact and everything for this year. So now after the draft is over, there could be changes there. Kwesi probably going to want to bring in his own guys and things like that. But, we'll
see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens when we get to that point. But like we said, the combine is in roughly 2 weeks. So we got to have our guys ready to roll and to get down there and do the evaluations and that kind of stuff. So with that, I think we're going to roll into, we'll do our classic beer commercial a little bit early this week, because we've got viewer questions coming up after that. And we got, I believe, 7 questions to tackle here from viewers and followers and things like that. So you guys head to the fridge, crack one open, sit down, enjoy the commercial, and we'll be back in a minute.
sooner you get down from there, the sooner we can get behind a couple of beers.
All right.
Boy.
Sunset. The time of day when you don't just reach for a beer. You head for the mountains. Boy.
All righty, we are back. And now for the meat and potatoes of this week's episode, we are going to do viewer questions. We put it out on our social pages earlier this week to get some questions from people, and we've got 7 of them to go through. So we're going to hit these here, and we'll see what we can come with you guys for answers. So the first one here is kind of a football question in general, not necessarily Vikings related,
Okay.
but comes from George Romero, came off of our Facebook page. He's asking, so why do I see defensive backs with the backs turned all the time nowadays, even in the Super Bowl? Last touchdown catch, the defensive back had his back turned away from the ball. Why are they playing the receivers that way? He said, when I was younger, I always watched defensive backs looking for the ball and backpedaling more.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I think a lot of it is getting to the point.
These receivers are a lot quicker than.
Yep, it's a speed thing for one.
So the corner gets turned around on the fly.
Yep. The biggest thing is when these defenders are chasing the guys down, keeping an eye on the receiver, watching for the receiver. When the receiver starts to turn to look for the ball, that's when the
That's
D-back
when you start to see
knows that
the corner
he
starts to
turn
look
as
back
well.
then too.
Yep. So
You know, it all depends on the corner that's playing and who you're watching play the position, really. Because I mean, once those hips get turned on the corner,
yeah,
and you're the receiver, you're that corner's done. It's toast.
right.
Once those hips flip,
Got to have
So-
the oily hips, like
right.
they always talk about in the draft process and everything. So, it's a combination of things, but a lot of it is wide receivers are a lot better athletes now. As a rule, they're faster.
Yeah.
Now the cornerbacks have also become faster and things, in order to combat that. But
the way the league is made now too, that plays into more of the hands of the receiver as well as far as offense goes.
yep. And back in the
So-
day when we were younger too, the league itself was more based on the run. So they weren't only looking towards the quarterback more, they were watching more for, to come up and play the run, off of their route if they, teams were running the ball more. So that's something too. I know it's kind of a vague
Right.
answer.
If you're playing a zone, it's a lot easier to. If you're playing a zone defense, it's a lot easier to keep things in front of you as well.
Right.
As far as going back on a cushion or whatever, and getting to your bubble spot or whatever in the zone. But
Right.
when you're playing man on man, it's a lot easier to get swung around as well.
Yep.
So
So I don't know if that answers your question much, but that's, it's a multitude of things that cause it.
Yeah.
And then here is the next question comes from our buddy Drew Bunting from over at the Vikings Report with Drew and Ted, who you can see Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on their YouTube channel. Go check those guys out. Great show. Great friends of the show. They've helped us out a ton. We go back and
Absolutely.
forth. Of course, we had our fantasy football contest
won.
going on during the season. Who won that one?
no, that was us. Yeah.
Was
Yep.
that us?
That was
Okay,
me. Yep. And that was
Okay.
me on between us.
But yeah, but I mean, I'm just, I couldn't remember who won that between Vikings Report and us. So I just thank you for reminding me though.
Yep, you bet.
Yeah. This one's probably going to raise a few eyebrows amongst a certain segment of the populace, but he says, say Kirk does get traded. What's your plan for the 2022 quarterback position?
What's the plan?
Yeah. What do each of us think we should do if Kirk is traded? Not saying we're going to, but in that scenario.
You see what you got in mind. That's what you need to do. Or well, granted that wasn't O'Connell's guy. He didn't draft Mon. But I would prefer to see what you have in mind, or bring somebody in here, a veteran, and have a open competition during training camp, and then let the best man win.
Yeah. Now, I guess from my side of things, if you get rid of Cousins, you're going to have some sort of a bridge quarterback, whether you draft a quarterback this year or you hold off and wait till next year. Now, of course, the reasoning for trading, and I see this all the time, it's, well, who are you going to get that's better than Kirk? It's not necessarily about finding somebody that's better than Kirk. It's somebody who's going to play the position well enough and cheap enough to where you can take that money that you're saving off of Cousins and fix other areas of the team, whether it be the defense, whether it be center, or if we need a right guard, which we don't know. Thank you, Zimmer. But so you're going to need some sort of a bridge guy. A few names that we see bounced around. Marcus Mariota is a possibility. Personally, I love me some Minshew mania. I'd love to see Gardner Minshew here. He's going to play it like kind of. I
love me some Minshew.
I do too. He puts you in mind of probably a little more talented Case Keenum, and he's got a little more swag than Keenum did too. Even
he's Uncle Rico, man.
Well, you got the jorts.
You could probably throw a football over those mountains.
Yeah, probably. Except there ain't any mountains in Minnesota, really. But
right.
But there again. So that would be my thing. I'd be making a call to Philly about Minshew.
Right.
And then you look at what we're doing, depending upon what we get for Cousins in this hypothetical trade, if somebody like Malik Willis is available, I know our buddy Tyler Fornes, he's big on Malik Willis. You think, and
the closer we get to the draft, the more hype that's going to be coming up on Willis too. He might be the first quarterback taken in the draft. I'm
guessing
that hype train is starting to pick up some steam.
Now I've heard that the Carolina Panthers are enamored as hell with Kenny Pickett. So, and they pick like 6th.
Right.
So Pickett could conceivably go first, but once the combine rolls around, some of these guys are going to shoot up the draft boards. Now,
see, I like Willis, but I would, if I was picking right now for a quarterback at the draft this year, I like Willis. There's a lot of talent there, and I've plugged him before in the show, but I like what I see out of Corral too. I think there might be something there.
Yeah. And now the combine is going to be the first shot that a lot of people get to see Corral, because he wasn't eligible for the Senior Bowl or anything like that. So I think he's probably going to shoot up the draft boards. I like him as well. Carson Strong out of Nevada is a possibility. Now he's a little bit more of that traditional in the pocket guy. I mean, he can move around and stuff, but he's not that dual threat guy. He's got.
I believe he's in the same kind of category as mine was last year coming out in the draft.
I mean, I would kind of put him move around and mobility wise, kind of in that Joe Burrow type camp, I think.
Okay.
I haven't watched a ton of film on him yet, so I plan on trying to do some of that stuff here coming up so we can talk about, these guys a little more in depth, but I know Strong has a hell of an arm. That's one thing I've heard.
Some might say he has a strong arm.
Yes, he does.
That Austin Powers commercial during the Super Bowl is pretty good too.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Yo.
So I guess that's what I'm looking at. You get your bridge guy who's going to play this year, one way or the other, and then you look at the draft. If there's somebody you like, you go get him. If I don't know about this quarterback class, then fill the other areas. You still have Kellen Mond, and then you look for a quarterback in the 2023 draft.
And from all accounts, it's going to be a pretty strong class.
Yeah, that one's next year's supposed to be a lot better for quarterbacks, but
Yep.
we'll see, I guess. On to the next question then. This is from our buddy Nick Howard. He asks, how many records do you think Justin Jefferson's going to set in this new offense?
Ooh. You know, I was liking what I was seeing out of the route concepts during the Super Bowl, you know, as far as the Rams go.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be, obviously, and should be, a huge focal point of this offense going forward.
Yep.
I think if Mcconnell was coaching here last year, he would have made sure Jefferson got his record at the end of the season. I can't say that for sure because we will never know, but I think he's going to get used heavily. Watch out, league.
Yeah. My thought on this, okay, everybody saw what Cooper Kupp did this past year.
Yeah.
Look for Justin Jefferson to be doing a lot of the same stuff next year. I mean, just in the Super Bowl, for instance, you know, they had OBJ go down. I think Van Jefferson was down for a while there. Tyler Higbee had already gotten hurt. They get down to that final drive when the Rams needed to go down and get a touchdown.
They knew the ball was going to them.
Right. So
they just couldn't stop it.
What were they doing? They weren't just, you know, doing like we did a couple times last year. Oh, they were playing two high safeties. What were we going to do? No, they took Cooper Kupp. They put him out wide.
Moved
Then
him
they
around.
put him in the slot. Then they put him out of the backfield, running jet sweep and motioning out of that.
You know what's addictive of that? Good coaching.
Yeah.
On the offensive side of the ball.
Stuff that doesn't come out of a coloring book.
Right. Or getting held down
by
somebody else.
Right.
If that was the case.
Yep. So I think Moss's record is definitely in reach again next year, and who knows what else. I mean, the sky's the limit for this kid. We all know Justin Jefferson is a special talent.
It's been over a decade since we've had an offensive mind at the helm here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I'm excited to see what we're going to do with Jefferson, but you know, I look for a lot of the same stuff they did with Cooper Kupp. I mean, they turned Cooper Kupp into a superstar. Jefferson's already a superstar.
Yeah.
So then Nick also has a follow-up question. What was on our table for the Super Bowl when we watched?
I think I had pulled pork.
Did you?
I think I had pulled pork. Yep.
We actually went out and watched this year. I normally do it at home, but we decided to go out this year for it. Myself, I had wings, and I also had a really good Cuban sandwich and fries along with that. So,
ooh, yum!
Turned out well.
Yep, I had to work it, but I made pulled pork that day, and it was good.
We saw
pulled pork and coleslaw.
Our buddy, the barbecue pitmaster Reggie Adams, had enough to feed the French army there.
He had all sorts of stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
God, my mouth was just watering looking at all that stuff he had on there. Then on to the next question from Dan Leary. He asks, what is Coach McConnell's philosophy regarding using the run to open up the pass or using the pass to open up the run? Well, Dan, we are going to see a team
That's a good way to answer it.
we are going to see a team this year that is not going to be running the ball at all costs.
Yeah.
If you look to how the Rams did this, they used the pass to set the run up. And Kevin O'Connell was in charge of putting the game plan together during the week.
I was going to say that, you know, it could honestly change week to week.
Yeah.
It all comes down to the game plan and what Kevin decides he wants to do.
Right. And that's a thing the Rams have done. That's a staple of a McVay system, is you don't just have a single philosophy like we've had for the last 8 years with Zimmer, and God damn it, we're going to run our stuff.
We're going to start attacking is what we're going to start doing. Is what's going to start happening is we're going to attack people now.
Well,
from the offensive side of the ball. And
even more importantly, we're going to game plan for each individual opponent. If we have a team 1 week that's great against the run but sucks against the pass, we're going to go out there and throw the ball all over the yard. If we have a team that has lockdown corners and is really good against the pass, we still have Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison and Kene Wangu. We're going to run the ball. And that's the thing with I think with Wangu and stuff and things too. We're not going to see this like we were doing last year when you're running your little bitty scat back into the pile where you have 350 pound linemen that are standing there waiting to eat him for lunch.
No, you get him out in space.
You're going to see with him, like I think with some of the stuff they were doing with Sony Michel and things like that. Like you said, they're going to get him out in space. They're going to do swing passes. They're going to move him around. It's not going to be the only pass plays you have for your running back is a 3-yard flare out to, out into the flat or things like that. It's then he had a second follow-up question. He says, how does Coach McConnell plan to improve our offensive line?
I think Quessy's going to help out with that a lot. I just think you take a look at what we got. You see what you got in Davis as well, since obviously we didn't get to see anything out of him.
Right.
Zim got to see him every day. Just like you see Mon. You get to see Mon every day. But you see what you got in Davis. He's a former All-American. I mean, come on.
2-time All-American.
So,
but
right.
I honestly think there will be a priority made. It wouldn't surprise me at all. You look at the free agent class as it sits right now, probably the two strongest positions that are going to be available are center and guard. So if we do come up with some free agent money, now I don't see us going for broke like Brandon Scherf or somebody like that. But there are some of these guys that you could probably get for $5 to $7 million a year for a couple of years. I see us doing that as a starter anyway.
Okay.
We've got two good bookend tackles in Darisaw and O'Neal. Ezra Cleveland played pretty decent at left guard.
He got better as the year went on, in my opinion.
So I think those three are a good base to start off. And then it's going to come down to what we do at center. I don't think Bradbury should be starting, to be honest with you.
No.
We've talked about that for the entire season.
We may have seen Bradbury play his last game in a Vikings uniform too. We just don't know, but
it's possible.
It's possible.
But
unless they think they can fix him.
Yeah. So I would say we're going to look to free agency this year to try to. That's going to be the spot where we're going to try to fix or at least upgrade at the.
But don't be surprised if we do pick up a couple on the somewhere in the draft as well.
Yeah,
obviously
wouldn't surprise me. I know there's a few that
it definitely needs to be addressed. That's for sure.
Yep.
That's
But anyway, I think that's how we probably start on the offensive line. Like I said, we're not going to be huge spenders, but I think you go find a league average center at least.
Right.
One in particular, I've heard rumblings about Austin Corbett, I believe his name is. He's the center for the Rams right now. He's a free agent and probably is going to be available at a relatively decent price. So he might be somebody to keep an eye on. And again, once we get closer to the start of free agency, we'll go through some of the top spots and potential players and things like that.
Right. And as far as the question goes, it's obviously no secret to anybody that this offensive line needs some work still.
Right.
So.
But like you said too, I still want to see what we have in Wyatt Davis. I think there's something there. I mean, you and I saw him in training camp and liked what we saw there. It's just
anybody that follows the team and knows how Zim was. I mean, we might not. Who knows what we got in Wyatt Davis?
Right.
As far as if Zim didn't like you, you weren't playing.
Mm-hmm.
So
and he had some issue with basically the entire third round last year.
Right.
And Surratt didn't play either, and he was on defense.
Right.
On to the next question.
As the years have gone on, a lot of the younger talent you see, they weren't playing as much as some of these older vets were. And when Zim was here, and that's not how you build a franchise.
No, but
leave it at that.
It seemed like the further Zim got into his tenure, the less patience and he had to develop players. He just wanted to bring veterans in who already knew what they were doing instead of having to try to teach his kids.
You wanted to keep his guys forever, and that's just not how you run things, man.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways.
Yeah. On to the next question from Ricky Brune. He asks, talk about our running back room, and would it be wise to draft Breece Hall out of Iowa State in the second round?
I'd be okay with it. He's a specimen.
He
I mean,
is.
he's fast, elusive.
I do like Breece Hall. I do, but I think there are too many other spots on this team that we need to address. To spend a second round pick on a running back this year anyway. We're not getting rid of Dalvin Cook this year. The dead money just doesn't add up to. I mean, we're still paying more in dead money than we gain in cap space if we were to trade or do something with Dalvin. So Dalvin Cook will be here. Alexander Madison is still in the last year of his rookie deal, so he'll still be here. Kene Wangu, of course, was a rookie last year. So
I would be surprised if we drafted a back this year, honestly. I would be surprised if we drafted a back. Would I be against drafting somebody like Hall? No, but I would be surprised if we did.
Yep. Oh yeah. If we drafted Hall, great. But like you said, I don't.
Right.
I can maybe see us, an undrafted free agent or two, maybe, or somebody late in the draft if there's a blue chipper sitting there someplace like a Pierre Strong or somebody maybe like that. But I just don't see running back being
high on the list,
high enough of a priority, compared to whatever, we need cornerback help. We need linebacker help. We need offensive line help. Possibly another safety. So, that's all areas I think that would be better served picking rather than taking a running back early. But
yeah.
Then the next question comes from Jeff. And Jeff, I'm sorry if I butcher your name, but it looks like Ruppel. We'll go with that. Jeff says, we have most of the tools in place. He said, the direction of the defensive back development, he said, we need some nasty, and we need to also develop a winning culture.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about this earlier in the season this year.
Yep.
We've been talking about that for a while around here.
Well,
culture, yes.
And that was what we brought up, before the final decision to get rid of Zimmer and Spielman came about, is that this entire team needed a culture change.
It was getting really ho-hum around here towards the end of Zim's and Rick's tenure here in Minnesota.
Yep. We had talent on the team, but what we didn't have a talented team, because I think there were just a lot of guys that were, here doing that.
A lot of the mistakes that we were having pointed directly back to coaching.
Right, because we kept making the same mistakes over and over again.
And it got to the point where later on in Zim's tenure here, you start questioning whether or not he's even game planning anymore, or whether he's even making adjustments in game. I have serious doubts that he was. I think he had his base plan that he's going to run out there every week. We talked about it chiseled in the stone tablets. We made that reference before. I think we're going to see it a lot different. It's going to be really refreshing here coming up. Yeah. And as far as the defensive backs go, that's probably my biggest concern I have going forward at the moment, is what we're going to do there. And the corner position is a big question mark at this point in time. Yep. We'll see what happens there. The most pressing need on this team is the defensive back groupings. I would agree. Then the next question we have comes from Porky B. And he asks if Zimmer's chick is staying in Minnesota or if she's leaving with him. That's a good question. It's a very good question. I don't think she's from Minnesota. I could be wrong. So I don't know. My guess is she's either going to move on with Zimmer. I mean, we've already seen her out there kind of firing back at Rick Spielman on Instagram about some of the Rick's Don't Blame Me tour that he was on before he got involved with the Jaguars. So my guess is she sticks with the Zim for a while. Now,
Maybe it's true
Oh.
love. I don't know. I mean, he's
Who knows?
65, she's 35.
I can't
or
believe we're
whatever it
actually
is.
taking this question serious.
I know. Hey, we're gonna do our best Dr. Phil here right now.
If she sticks with him, true love does exist.
Yeah.
All right.
But Porky, no, we don't have her number. So if you were looking for something there, I can't help you out, man. All right. We got one more question to go over here, and then we'll get out of here for the night because Lance is having internet problems. But
Yeah.
all right, you said,
Damn kids.
yeah,
Got
time
a
to
house full of people that always get on the internet.
get off the damn Xbox so we can finish our show.
Right. No shit.
All right, the final question
All right.
comes from Charlie Wiedereth, and Charlie asks, he said, talk about all the teams making it to the Super Bowl while they have a quarterback on the rookie contract and how overpaying a veteran quarterback leads to so many other holes on the roster to be competitive. He said, of course, Tom Brady is the exception to this, but only because he's willing to sign a team-friendly deal. This realistic,
That's true.
it's true but this realistically is probably one of the most heavily talked about topics in at least
We've touched on it a couple times. It's been a while since we had touched on it, but we have.
right. But and with the rookie quarterback,
That's the golden ticket, man, right there. That's just the golden ticket.
I think it is. I mean, the numbers are a bit skewed because of Tom Brady, because we all know he's won 7 Super Bowls and been to what was it, 10. So
yeah,
out of the last 20 years, so that skews things a little bit. But it does bear talking about, when now granted the Rams had a ton of money, like 48 million tied up towards quarterbacks this year because they were paying Jared Goff and also paying Matt Stafford.
right.
But the Rams are also going to lose a ton of people.
I don't think I'm the only one I don't think I'm the only one that feels this way, but this season, in my opinion, felt a lot of like passing of the torch to the next generation of quarterbacks coming in. More so than any of the other years, because now you got Burrow, you got Allen, and they're all starting to hit their peaks.
Yeah,
and a lot of these guys from the past, like Roethlisberger and Tom Brady, they're all starting to go on their way out. So you can really feel the passing of the torch going on right now. In my opinion.
And especially in the AFC, like you said, because right now it seems like all the hot young elite quarterbacks are over there. You look at the NFC, it's kind of wide open. I mean, the NFC itself is pretty much going to be wide open. You still have Aaron Rodgers.
The NFC has a lot of catching up to do as far as the quarterback goes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as hot shoe young quarterbacks right now in the NFC, you've got Kyler Murray, who
that's even a question mark.
It is questionable. I'm not completely sold on Kyler Murray. I know there's been rumors.
I like the kid, but I'm not sold yet either. I haven't seen enough yet.
Yeah, there's rumors going back and forth. He's not happy and wants his new contract, and the team doesn't want to pay him, and so they're throwing mud at each other and everything else.
Those rumors have been going on for about 2 weeks now. Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks.
So, but other than that, in the NFC, there's really nobody that stands out to you as Justin Fields could be now that with the new coaching staff.
Daniel Jones, man.
I mean,
who knows, right?
Right. I mean, they got Dayball, who basically made Josh Allen what he is. Can he do that?
Might be able to, he might be able to.
He might be able to make Daniel Jones into something respectable. I don't know.
Right. Who knows? So he's yet to be seen.
Right. But that's going to be so. If the Vikings can figure something out, the NFC is there for the taking really right now. Nobody knows what San Francisco is doing. There's rumors out there that they don't think Trey Lance is ready to take over yet.
Right.
Of course, you've got Russell Wilson in Seattle, who's not the same player that he used to be.
Right. Tack another year onto his resume, it's getting long.
Dak Prescott's probably the top quarterback in the NFC, not named Aaron Rodgers right now. And we don't know.
And
We
I
don't
mean,
know if Aaron
just
Rodgers
saying
is
that.
gonna.
That's just how far behind the NFC is as far as the quarterback position goes.
Mm-hmm. So, it's tough. I think ultimately you do want that. You need to find the right young quarterback too. You can't find the Josh Rosens
Right.
or the Christian Ponders or
Daniel
of that
Jones.
ilk, the Daniel Jones,
Right, up to
players
this
that
point.
Sam, yeah, and so on, so forth, and everything else. But you
It's
do
all about
need,
getting that golden ticket and finding the right one, man.
yeah. Now, like I said, Josh Allen's and Joe Burrows and Patrick Mahomes don't grow on trees, but hopefully now, we've got somebody now, hopefully, that can find that quarterback. And that's part of the reason Rick Spielman's no longer here, is because he couldn't do it.
Right.
And that's, you hear all the time, oh, we get rid of Cousins, then we're going to come back with a Ponder. But these people are all talking. The Vikings haven't taken a swing at a first round quarterback since Teddy Bridgewater.
Right.
And he was at the tail end of the first round.
Yeah, I was gonna say he almost fell out of the first round. So
right before that, it was Christian Ponder.
It's funny because Teddy that year he was at the beginning of the whole process. Teddy was the consensus #1 guy in the whole draft.
To start
by
with,
the time the whole process played out, he almost fell out of the second round, or he almost fell out of the first round. So
right. So we'll see. It's gonna, as it kind of falls back onto, like we were talked about with Drew's question too earlier, about what we do this year should we move on from Kirk Cousins. A lot of these things are going to be answered in the next month.
It's really hazy right now.
Yep.
And now that we got our guy in-house, it's going to start clearing up a little bit. We'll have more of a clear picture of what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think so too. But with that, that's really all we've got for tonight. I want to thank everybody for submitting the viewer questions. We love doing those. We'll do them off and on here through the off season and as we go forward. Big thank you again to everybody who joined us in the live chat that we do every Friday, but when we do the premiere of the episode. Love talking to you guys. Love the fact that you guys come watch us every Friday night. It's great to see all you guys, Doc Proto, Dan Hanneman, Raymond Hoagland, GMAC 72, Eric Lind, Drew Bunting, Riley, Nick, everybody Eric. That comes in there. We love having you guys. Thank you from the bottoms of our hearts for sticking with us every week.
Don't want to miss anybody.
Of course, we can't miss the official Vikings ambassador, Miss Mary Fisk, either. So Reggie, of course, also the barbecue pit master. Thank all of you guys for being there with us from the beginning and supporting us as we go along. We really appreciate it. For any of you who are new to the show, if you like what you're seeing, please hit that subscribe button down below, down in the over there. Yeah, over there.
Somewhere.
Down in the bottom banner down there. Helps us out a ton. Helps with the YouTube algorithms and all the fancy little stuff that goes on in the background to help us build the brand and do better shows for you guys as we continue to move along here. Again, if you're out on the road, check us out on the audio podcasts. We're on all the standard audio channels as well. But with that, why don't you take us out of here, Lance?
48. Rhino, you did a good job wrapping it up this week. Keep it short and sweet. Once again, thanks you guys for coming and checking out Vikings Uncensored. We love doing this show. We love bringing you the weekly Vikings news, rolling it all up and putting it out there for you. And with that being said, we will see you all next week. Tell your friends, your grandmas, your grandma's sisters, grandmas about Vikings Uncensored.
Preferably somebody who has internet access so they can watch us.
But yeah, with that being said, we'll see you next Friday. Having a blast here. Skol.
We'll see you guys.